Breaker Broke 23. So I'm going through an old system that I pulled out of my old Suburban about a year ago, just checking it out. Let's see, I did the last video on the US Amps Exterminator X 50 amp, which is a 50 watt by 2 full range amp with subwoofer and high pass crossover. So next I've got my good old Punch 45 HD. I'm the original owner of this blast from the past amp for sure. I've had this on many systems throughout the years. Just a little guy, 22 watts a channel, 22 and a half watts a channel. Kind of neat. This was back in the day when you use, if you want to mono one of these amplifiers, use right positive, left negative. Now it seems to be left positive, right negative, but that doesn't really mean anything. But what I liked about this channel, or this amplifier, is I can use it as a 3 channel, so I can have a right, left, and then a channel, right, positive, left, negative, and have a mono channel for like a woofer and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it has a pretty good power supply in it, so it could take that kind of abuse. But anyway, this is just a little baby unit here. And yeah, kind of neat. It runs. I've checked all modes and functions. It blasts really well. No problems at all. In a minute here, I'll show you the inside of it. But everything worked out pretty good in the cleanup process. I got these two little Allen screws off pretty easy, but I had an epic fail on those two. And the way they do that is they put the Allen down in the heatsink right there. Still got more mud and hair in there. This thing has been through hell, especially in that last install in the Suburban. I put these amps in the Suburban. It was around 97, 98. And anyway, so they took quite the thrashing. Anyway, we got these little Allens here. Just little bitty fellers. And I sprayed a little WD-4 on them, or WD-40, and tried to get them to come out. And 2 of them came out easily. And I soaked it for a while and kind of tapped on it. You know, that's how WD-40 works. But them little ones just actually broke off at the head. So in putting this back together, I'm going to have to drill those 2 back out. And I'm going to put this in probably in another system. I'm just going to use this thing until she dies. So anyway, all right. So let's take a look at the inside. Okay, here's an inside view of the Punch 45 HD. This one is dated 6 of 92. And I bought this late 92, so that's about right. Fresh amp when I bought it. I'm the original owner. Yeah, so I've done a lot of things with this amp. I've had this on a single 12 subwoofer. I've had it on a single 10. I've had it on a GNS Redline single 8 and a bandpass. And it really was quite the amplifier. Is quite the amplifier because it still works rather well. When I tore it apart, this was in my Suburban, and my Suburban was kind of my work truck. It hauled, you know, chainsaws around. I mean, we put car parts in it, hauled the dogs in it. And when I took the bottom cover off, this was full of dog hair and dirt. And I actually should have checked that before I fired it up, because when I first fired this amp up a couple times, it kind of made the subwoofer sound weird. Then the noise went away. And I thought, well, I'll check for bad solder joints. But boy, when I pulled the cover off, this was just all full of garbage in there. So I actually wish I took a video of what this looked like before, but I just did not shoot footage. But that being said, I think I'm going to put this in my CRV buildup. I've got my little US Amp Exterminator X 50 I might throw in there as well. Get some nice class AB1 power in there for mids and highs. And then I'll run some modern class D amp or something for the 260s. But yeah, kind of a neat little amplifier. Blast from the past. I love the HD series. I like the Punch 45s, the 75s, and the 150s. I had a 75 for a brief period of time. Oh, I know what. I've had this in many systems, but back in the day, actually, I bought this amp for a little cheater amp system in my Taurus. So I had a new Ford Taurus at the time, really high-end model. Pretty nice car for back then. And I ran, let's see, it was 9 speakers off this. So what I did is I ran Boston Acoustic 6.5s and tweeters up front. I ran 5 1/4s and tweeters in the rear deck, separates on a plate. And then I ran a GNS Redline 10 subwoofer in a dual chamber single reflex bandpass that was vented up through the back deck lid of my Taurus. And what I did is I ran stereo left and right for all the mids and highs, and then you can take like right positive, left negative, and sum that to a mono, and that's what I did on the subwoofer. And then I used a little coil for the subwoofer. And yeah, I had 9 speakers running off this thing. You know, it wasn't really a high SPL car or anything like that, but it did sound really nice and clean. That was kind of back in the day when I wanted to do a full 50 watt system, or I'd use a cheater amp or something like that little USX 50 for a 100 watt system. But anyway, pretty cool stuff. They don't make them like this anymore, and that may or may not be a good thing. But anyway, that's my Rockford Punch 45 HD.